Leon, what is the HERE Foundation?
The Hair Foundation is an organization that's focused on building relationships between police and community. We have three pillars: workforce development and gun violence reduction. The significance of those three pillars are they were the three things that me and the chief of police could agree on.
Chief of Police for,
Pittsburgh,
okay.
uh, Chief Schubert. So I was actually shot 5 times by a police officer when I was 19 years old. Became a national activist. Um, really struggled with a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred that I fortunately overcame. Um, Throughout the process, I've called, you know, many officers, including Chief Schubert, racist. Said they didn't care about black people, and said hateful things that I believed in my heart. Fortunately, I was able to meet Chief Schubert personally through a mutual friend who is Laura Ellsworth. And from there, uh, the rest is history. We became friends and eventually launched a foundation together. So, yes, I am the co founder of the HERE Foundation, and Chief Scott Schubert is also the co founder.
So, why are you here at the Eradicate Hate Global Summit?
Uh, so, I am on the steering committee for the Eradicate Hate Global Summit. And I believe that hatred exists, right, throughout, you know, many parts of the world, throughout society. But I also believe that it is possible to eradicate hate. Uh, One, we must first acknowledge that hate exists. We must acknowledge the harm that has been done to many different people for different hateful reasons. We must collectively work through the triggers and figure out innovative solutions to prevent this hate from perpetuating itself.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you had accused your police chief of being racist. You came around, you altered that opinion. What was the point that made you alter your perceptions?
Yeah, a lot of times our perspective is based on how we see the world. And if we live in a bubble of people who see the world the same way as us, it's easy to judge and condemn someone else based on decisions that they make that we may believe is harmful to us. And so what turned my perspective around was really getting to know Chief Schubert, understanding his story, why he became a police officer, um, understanding his vision for policing, and I believe that we were aligned, right? When he would talk about mental health and community, and also mental health within the police department, and we would talk about, gun violence and how it has impacted his life in similar ways that it has impacted mine. Um, these things helped me understand him as a human being and ultimately change my perspective.
Let me focus in on that for a second. Do you think that that would make the difference in a number of hate-fueled cases where if people just developed relationships with some of those on the other end of their own hatred, they might change the position the way you did?
Absolutely. I believe, talking to people is a huge step in seeking to understand people, right? The curiosity, um, the compassion, and the courage to talk to people who may look different than you, who may have a different perspective than you, who may have a different lived experience than you. I think that is very important in healing the world of hatred. Again, it's easy to judge someone when you don't know their story. I have a friend here, Chris, who He's a former white supremacist. And when you hear his story and what he has been through, my God, I can almost understand why he turned, you know, um, to the organizations that he did. But he had the courage, the curiosity, and the compassion to come out of it, right? And so, I'm a firm I'm a firm believer that people can turn their lives around through building relationships and just seeking to understand one another.
That's a good point to end on. Leon, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.